My name's Demi-Rose.
My name's Hufsa Mahfooz.
My name's Simpson.
And this is the use of technology-based resources used to support English. Digital literacy. Early exposure to digital knowledge, critical thinking and online social engagement is crucial if schools want to make sure their pupils have the skills needed to live, work and thrive in our digital society.
What is digital literacy? Payton and Hay define digital literacy as the ability to make, represent and share meanings in different modes and formats. In order for children to be digital literate in today's society, children need to acquire skills to understand how to function effectively in digital environments.
When learning digital literacy in the classroom, children can be in control of their own creations. They develop their self-confidence as they take pride in their own work. They are encouraged to produce a piece of work which will impress their audience, either teachers or parents, and to gather feedback to improve their understanding and learning.
On the other hand, there are complications within the digital literacy world due to safety issues, which can put children at increased levels of risk. This can be a concern in the classroom as children will need to be made aware of the e-safety issues before linking the technology world to literacy.
During this presentation, we'll present two types of technology-based resources, defining the effectiveness of using them when teaching literacy. These are virtual reality and e-books.
Virtual reality. Virtual reality is an artificial environment that is created using software. It offers a 3D image that can be explored by the child interactively. It enables children to investigate into the virtual world following their own curiosity.
Children use virtual reality headsets with a device inside, which they are able to view by putting the headsets on. This is how it works. This device may be linked to an app, game or film. Children are then able to move freely as if they're in the virtual world and can visualise their surroundings. We have created our own virtual reality world to explore the Great River in Jamaica. Alright children, you can now put your devices out.
Wow!
In our example, we have demonstrated how to use a virtual reality device and shown an example of what children in years 3 to 6 see as they are looking around. In our example, teachers will use a virtual reality set to provide an insight to a topic or theme that the children may be learning about. This can then lead on to a descriptive piece of writing about the Great River in Jamaica.
Advantages of virtual reality. Virtual reality headsets have been making good progress in educational systems in the last few years. The use of virtual reality lessons are shown to engage children as this technology is immersive in nature, inspires creative learning and promotes curiosity. Children follow their own choices and interests. An average person can only remember 20% of the information that they hear and 30% of the information they see. If they get this information through personal experience, they can remember up to 90%. Virtual reality supports the child's individual experience and links to the national curriculum as children are motivated to find out information.
Being in a virtual reality world enables children to experience visual images based on real life. In education, teachers will refer to the factual concepts when using virtual reality, which can support their creative writing as children describe what they're seeing and use their imagination to expand their ideas. Visual images are used to scaffold children in education to overcome intricate information that they may not understand. Jerome Bruner developed the theory of scaffolding, influenced by Lev Vygotsky. Bruner emphasised that while children start to develop, they require assisted support from teachers and other adults based on active learning. The theory of scaffolding demonstrates the support that is given to the child, and this will gradually reduce as the child becomes more able. This would support the child to develop new knowledge and skills that they were not able to achieve before.
Some children may not experience travelling around the world. However, virtual reality allows children to travel while in the classroom, which broadens their understanding of the world and their observation skills. This will further support the child in their communication and language, as children will discuss their views on different places socially. This links to the development matters in the early years foundation stage, as it is expected for children aged 30 to 50 months to talk about some of the things they have observed, such as plants, animals, natural and found objects.
The disadvantages of virtual reality. Although virtual reality supports children socially, today's young people are growing up as part of an internet generation, and their ease with technology will undoubtedly result in them becoming a force for social transformation. Therefore, in the long term, children begin to limit their social interactions and communication skills, which is down to their addiction to technology. As children become more interested in virtual reality, they have a delay in their speech due to less time for interactions. Self-confidence can be affected by the lack of face-to-face interactions, which will impact their productions and presentations when referring to literacy in the future. This is because with virtual reality, it's just you and your virtual reality software.
Despite the fact that virtual reality can be used as a cross-curricular resource, it can be difficult for teachers to link this specifically to children's literacy because it does not involve the 4 language skills of speaking, listening, reading and writing. Furthermore, teachers must follow the teaching standards which say, plan and teach well-structured lessons and promote a love of learning and children's intellectual curiosity. However, when using the virtual reality sets, children will expect to be using them every lesson as they find them motivating, but they will be let down due to teachers having to link this back to literacy. For example, after experiencing the virtual reality headsets, children may have to write a creative story, which is where children may lose interest and become distracted from their learning.
E-books. So what is a multimodal text? A multimodal text is a resource that includes more than one mode of communication, for example, speaking, listening and viewing. Multimodal resources can include films, text, pictures and moving images in the form of live, paper or digital.
There are many examples of multimodal text. We are going to be looking into e-books and how they can impact children's literacy learning and development.
Within schools, different students learn differently, and e-books help our experienced teachers provide the best up-to-date practices. This is effective in their learning as it supports their reading and listening skills.
Once upon a time, Prancer was helping Santa deliver presents to the whole world before Christmas Day, along with the other reindeers.
We based our ebook on the theme of Christmas for children in nursery school to year 1. This is beneficial because Christmas is a well-known celebration which is celebrated throughout all primary schools in England. Our ebook includes the modes of viewing, speaking, reading and listening in a digital format. We use Vocally and PowerPoint as a resource to create this ebook. This ebook consolidates their knowledge on Christmas in a fun and interactive way.
Advantages of e-books. The use of relatable e-books attracts and engages children as they can relate their visual and auditory learning to their home life. Teachers can also use e-books to prepare children for an upcoming experience, for example, going to the hospital. This supports the statutory requirements within the national curriculum, as children are encouraged to link what they read and what they hear read to their own experiences.
E-books can also support children with special educational needs, SEN. We found a research that said children at risk for learning disabilities made good progress in reading skills following exposure to well-designed e-books. For example, children who have visual impairments are able to change the size of fonts to suit their needs. The impact of using audio and e-books scaffolds children's literacy development, as they can hear the pronunciation of words and can link their recognitions of letters with sounds. This is reinforced by the EYFS framework, as it states, link sounds to letters, naming and sounding the letters of the alphabet. The multimodal e-book supports children's visual learning as they can see the printed words, which improves their focus on understanding the meaning behind the words.
Montessori believe that children learn best through their interests, to support their natural desire to learn. By following Montessori's approach, children's interests are activated, which supports their motivation to expand their knowledge further. The National Literacy Trust carried out a project based on the impact of e-books on children's reading, which concluded to an 11% increase in the number of boys who enjoyed reading using technology. This demonstrates that e-books motivate, engage and improve children's literacy.
The disadvantages of e-books. On the other hand, Alexander and Skinner have criticised the use of e-books by expressing that it would be wrong to assume that students will automatically be better served by digital reading simply because they prefer it. If teachers continue to use e-books, children will not see the value of the resource, which results in children becoming too reliable on digital literacy. The research found has shown that it is easier for children to remember information from a physical resource such as a paperback book, because touching paper and turning pages aids the memory. Memorising is a key skill within literacy as it enables children to manipulate a variety of texts. Not having the ability to memorise affects children's potential in understanding the meaning of text in depth. The national curriculum states that children should be able to explain clearly their understanding of what is read to them.
E-books are also a disadvantage to children's literacy due to adults using traditional books. This enables them to start conversation through asking complex questions, which can support their thought process. Teachers will take the role of a more knowledgeable other who facilitates them to reach the new level of knowledge, skill or understanding by answering children's questions. This was emphasised by Vygotsky.
How to evaluate the impact of technology-based resource. Self-assessment. Children can assess themselves against their learning objectives set at the start of a lesson. This helps to build pupils into better learners and develops a deeper insight into the assessment process.
Formative and summative assessments. Formative assessments help the child identify their strengths and weaknesses and could be an example of 2 stars and a wish. Summative assessment is an assessment that evaluates a child against set standards from the setting's curriculum, which could be a national curriculum, and is an example of an end-of-term test.
Social interactions. Pupils are able to peer assess each other's work and can give feedback by setting targets in lessons.
Feedback. In placement settings, they use circle time, where children discuss what they have learned during lessons and show gestures to get all the children involved, such as a thumbs up or a thumb down to show their understanding. Post-it notes. Children write one thing they have enjoyed and one thing they would like to improve. The teacher can then discuss with the class the feedback given from this task. This has also been reinforced within placement settings.
Overall, virtual reality and e-books are an effective resource to support children's literacy in their classroom, but they present some limitations.
Virtual reality structures children's imagination and creative development as children experience the virtual reality world firsthand. However, virtual reality is not specifically designed to further a child's literacy learning and will need to be incorporated by teachers in their planning.
E-books support children's reading, writing and listening skills from the use of audio, printed word and animations. Young children are attracted to e-books, which enables children to engage with the content. However, they are limited in developing their communication skills due to less interaction with others and teachers.
Technology-based resources can be used in the classroom to support English, although teachers need to be allowed to find a balance between doing what they have done and incorporating the new with the old. Technology has many benefits when being used within schools to further children's learning and education. However, it is important to ensure that children are aware of other methods of learning literacy with more traditional resources.
Thank you for listening. We will now take any questions if there are any.